Hi. I could be doing really good, and my husband comes home in a mood, and I can't be with him when he's in a mood and be fine with that. I mean, I try to shift it and
you should have him killed.
No, he's great. I like him, but
Well, if he's responsible for your forking off in the wrong direction, then wouldn't removing him from the situation automatically make you start forking in the other direction?
No.
Because...
Well, I don't really think he's responsible for that. I would like to know what tools I can have to be there with him in his mood and be fine.
That's a contradiction. You cannot be there with him in that mood without your vibration being there. And when your vibration is there, then you are contradicting your own vibration. And that's why you're irritated with him, because if he would just behave better, you would feel better. And if you would feel better, there would be less contradiction in your vibration. And so that's why you began in the way you did. We always like to dramatize things because we know that you're not really wanting to be away from him. There is so much about the relationship that is pleasing to you. But we do want to point out that you can't have it both ways. You cannot be a observer of the whole of anything, any person or any situation, without offering your vibration all over the place. And it is focused vibration that is deliberate creation. Sloppy vibration is just a regurgitation of what is. Most people are offering their vibration in response to what they're observing. So they observe something that makes them feel good. Esther watches Kate. She's 3, granddaughter Kate. And every interaction that Esther has with Kate leaves Esther feeling more wonderful than before. She loves hearing her voice on the phone. She loves looking at her photographs. She loves looking at the things she has drawn. She loves remembering every moment that she's ever had with her. And she frankly resents the rest of you who do not behave that well. It would be so nice if you all would just be as lovable, because then Esther would never, ever be challenged about connection. She could just observe you and feel wonderful. And that's sort of the standard that so many of you are holding each other to. You say, well, when you do that, I feel good, but when you do that, I don't feel good. So you need to always do things that make me feel good, which puts you in an impossible predicament, because now your joy is dependent upon their behavior. And even though they sometimes even willingly want to do things that make you feel good, there are so many of them that don't. And so that's where that feeling of powerlessness comes from, where you feel that you don't have the power to feel the way you want to feel under these conditions. And what we want to say to you is, yes, you do, but you got to practice forking when it's easier. In other words, as you lean in the direction of what feels good, you will begin to establish a vibration that causes an activation within you that extracts from the people that you are interacting with more of what you want to see. You really do not want to remove the Tabasco sauce from the kitchen that you call my husband's behavior, because it's not your right. You don't get to choose what offerings that he offers, but you can choose what's active in you and therefore what you extract in your relationship with him. You know, it's interesting as we watch people studying this idea of deliberate creation. Many of you feel better in the things that you're creating singularly than the things that you are co-creating cooperatively. And we want you to hear us when we say that you never get anything from someone because they are just giving it to you. Because no one can give you something that you're not a vibrational match in receiving.
Okay.
The transmitters are out there beaming all kinds of radio signals all over the place. And if you don't have your tuner set to them, you're not hindered by their transmission. So there are people, even those you live with, those you work with, those that you are interacting with in traffic, or those globally that you are interacting with, that are offering their signals, but you do not have a relationship with them unless you are sending a signal that matches. It takes a matching vibration in order for there to be a cooperative experience, you see. So your husband comes home and he behaves in a way that causes you to look upon him and causes you to offer a vibration that you feel is hindering to your closing the vibrational gap. And we say, it's your job to find a way of looking at him in a way that doesn't close the gap. Not his job to behave in a way that causes you to look at him in a way that doesn't close the gap. At first, it feels satisfying to say, it's your fault, I feel this way. Because blame does feel better than guilt. We admit it. It's higher on the vibrational scale. But it is so disempowering to believe that somebody else must do something before you can feel better. And so ultimately empowering when you discover that you can focus in a way that causes you to feel better no matter what they do. And when you do, you begin to weed out of your vibrational offering things that have been attracting, hindering things. Nobody can give you something that is inactive in your vibration. Oh, how powerful is that? You just got to clean up your vibration, you see. So you make lists of the positive aspects, and by focusing upon the things that you adore, you de-emphasize the things that you do not, and you'd start with the things that are easiest, and you practice the vibration that feels the best until in time you have recreated within you a vibrational, emotional journey relationship with this man. And in time, the physical manifestation must follow. It is law. You have the power to close the gap in your vibration. And here's the thing we really want you to hear. When you make the effort to close the vibrational relationship gap between where you are and where you want to be, you become the beamer of a singular, powerful signal. And only on that signal point can you rendezvous with others. So you're not rendezvousing with the ornery. You're rendezvousing with the optimistic part of them. You're not rendezvousing with the overwhelmed part of them. You're rendezvousing with the insatiable, eager, passionate part of them, you see. Isn't that nice to know? So everything that you're getting from every person, no exception, is active somewhere in your vibration. And that's why we say, as you close that gap and close that gap and close that gap, so you deactivate those things that are troubling when they come back to you, they can't come back to you. Isn't that good to know? Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abraham. It's a joy to sit in front of you all of these years of listening to your tapes. I'm wanting to know if I can rekindle a relationship with someone I love and dear to my heart that has been interrupted for a time.
Yes.
With a committed, loving, caring relationship, if this is in my highest good, or should I move on?
Well, here's what we would do. We would rekindle the relationship vibrationally and then let the universe deliver the goods. And we wouldn't nitpick over the face that it comes on.
Very good.
If it helps your forking to picture that face, then do so. If it hinders your forking to picture that face, then don't do so. Only you know the advantage that focusing upon that specific relationship does. If it makes your heart sing, then it's to your advantage. If it makes you feel lost, then it isn't. But the relationship that we want you to rekindle is the one between you and you. And then everything appropriate to who you are flows easily into your experience. Sometimes attention to a subject that feels like it's unfulfilled just keeps opening that unfulfilled door and holding yourself in the doorway longer, you see. So what we'd like to say to you is, you've done this. You've lived enough life to know what you want, and you've launched it into your vibrational escrow future, and it's there ready to reveal itself to you. But we have a very powerful feeling that if you could distract yourself from this subject, it would come in faster than if you keep working on this subject. Because the more you work on it, the more you're forking off in the wrong direction. A lot of people do that. It's like, well, if I just gave it a little more attention, maybe then it would happen. Well, if I just gave it a little more attention, then maybe then it would happen. We say, sometimes it's better to just say, I've given it all the attention it needs. It's happening. Now, what's for lunch?
Let it go and go on. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. It's simple, isn't it? Simple to hear, simple conceptually. And in time, it will become simple to you as you stand in the moment of negative emotion and you say, I'm marching towards something that when I get there, I'm not going to like. Now, I can change my course of action now, or I can tempt fate a little more and see how far I can actually march before it manifests. I can continue to justify, or I can continue to wallow in my discomfort, because after all, I've done it quite a long time and nothing that really bad has happened. And we say, you get to choose, and no one is unhappy if you receive manifestations that are different from what you want. But we do want you to know that your true joy will ever only come when you are a vibrational match to who you really are. You can't have become this bright, shining new being with all these bright, shining new ideas and be over here, not yet a vibrational match to it, and really be in your ultimate joy. So the optimum creative experience is for the contrast to continually give birth to new intentions and you to just continually reach for the best feeling thought that you can find so that you become steadily a vibrational match to the new intentions. And then the way your life plays out is you don't feel frustration about what's not yet manifested. Instead, you feel the life-giving qualities of these new intentions that are summoning life through you. You are eternal beings, and you cannot be eternal and complete at the same time. They do not go together. If you are eternal, then you are growing. And if you are growing, then there's stuff not yet done. And if there's stuff not yet done, then you are incomplete. But when you are incomplete and happily optimistic, now you are living life in the way you did from your non-physical vantage point when you decided to jump into this time-space reality. You said there'll be plenty of things that I adore, plenty of things that I don't like so much, and out of all of that will be born my unique intentions for me. And Source says, and when you find them big or small, we'll be right there with you because no one better than you can decide from your vantage point. And when you decide, we'll be there, and you'll have guidance that will let you know whether you're there or not. We're done. Go to the beach. So, you have some things you want to talk about. We see our value to you in helping you to close the vibrational gap. We do not see our value in the way some of you have been approaching life. Humans often, when they see a condition that makes them feel good, they vote for more conditions like that. And when they see a condition that causes them to feel bad, then they push against and try to eradicate the earth from those conditions. And what we're wanting you to understand is this is an attraction-based universe. It is all about inclusion. When you give your attention to something wanted and say yes to it, you include it in your vibration. When you see something you do not want and you shout no at it, you include it in your vibration. So there is no such thing as no in this vibrationally based universe. We see our value to you in assisting you, not in trying to figure out how to change the condition so that you can feel better in response to the condition. That's conditional love, isn't it? I feel love under these conditions, but not under those conditions. And we say, no, that's not who you are. Who you are is love. You feel love under all conditions, which means you have the ability to focus your mind in such a way that you stay in vibrational concert with that which is love, with that which is source. You don't need to demand that conditions change. And so sometimes you'll want to talk about something your son is doing or something your mother is doing or something that your employer is doing. And if they would do it differently, you would feel better. And you think that your questions to us are about how you can work the energy just right to make them do the things that when they do them, then you will be able to observe them and you will feel better. And we say, surgery we understand, medicine we understand, bulldozers on the dike we understand, and we understand your motivation for wanting to do that. We do understand trying to keep your head above water just for one more moment while you get another breath of air. But what we are really wanting you to understand is that unless you do something about your vibrational countenance, nothing can change. Nothing long-term will change, that's certain. Haven't you found it interesting that a new disease pops up and humanity finds the cure only to find another disease popping up? Don't you think it's interesting that you don't get to the end of those diseases? And the reason you don't is because you have not yet got to the end of pushing against things. So, we'll talk about unconditional love, which is finding vibrational alignment regardless of the condition, holding the thought of San Diego, even though I'm out in the desert, so that my emotional journey has me in alignment, which means my physical journey, my action journey, must catch up with it.